Well, welcome to week 3. Today I'm going to continue to help you make better choices today so tomorrow can be your best so you can live in optimum health. And we're going to do that by making a couple of really delicious recipes. And also, I just want to commend you for making it to week 3. You know, at the beginning of the year, we start out with New Year's resolutions and goals, and we have plans that we want to implement into our life to make our lives better. And somewhere along the way, life usually happens, and we get kind of bogged down sometimes. Well, what do you do when you hit that place? When you're ready to throw in the towel? When you really are at a standstill, old habits are starting to come back, and it's just easier to go with what you know instead of what you know you need to change. You know, I just want to encourage you to look at the goal. You've set a goal with this program. You want to lose weight, you want to get healthy, you want vitality in your life. So I encourage you to put your focus on the goal. And that goal is where you're going to keep your eyesight, not on the plan to get there. Sometimes when we look at everything that we have to do on a daily basis to change, it makes it very challenging for us to do those things. But when we know our ultimate goal is to be healthy, is to be thinner, it's to be full of life, then we can press in and make it to that next goal. So I just commend you for being here. And today we're going to make spinach avocado soup. It's one of my favorite soups. And at my kitchen, this became one of the cafe's favorite recipes. It's very easy. It's a real cleansing recipe. So we're going to start out. I have 4 cups of alkaline water in my Vitamix. And we're going to start out with putting 2 very large handfuls of spinach in here. Again, spinach is full of protein and iron, lots of antioxidants and nutrients. The next thing we're going to do is just take an avocado. When you cut an avocado, make sure you pull the little end out so it doesn't end up falling in your food. We're just going to slice this in half, twist it, pop it out with your finger. And then we're going to scoop it out. With the Vitamix, you can just put the whole avocado in. If you're using a regular blender, that's not a high-power blender, you might want to cut the avocado first a little bit just to help it blend easier. Get a bowl here to put my scraps in. The next thing we're going to do is take an apple. You can use any variety of apple. Fuji and apple Honeycrisp are my favorite, but any apple will work. If it's not organic, please peel it. If it is organic, you don't need to peel it. And in the Vitamix, again, we don't have to cut these in small pieces. We can just throw them in. And there we go. And the next we're going to do 3 onions. These are scallions or green onions. And I've had cut the tips off, and we've washed them. And now we just need to cut them in about 1-inch pieces. So we just have nice 1-inch pieces. We're just going to throw those in. And again, like I tell you with raw food, it's all about what you like. So if you're not really big on onions, don't put all the onions in. You can start with less, and if you think it needs more, you can add more. Lemon juice. I do squeeze all of my lemon juice fresh. I don't use reconstituted just because this is healthier, and I know I can get organic lemons that way. So we're going to pour in 2 tablespoons to start with. And thyme is a secret ingredient for this soup. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of thyme. Garlic, about a teaspoon of garlic. Now this soup has become my green smoothie. The first week I made a green smoothie, which you can drink for breakfast or anytime throughout the day, but I really like the savory better than the sweet. I kind of lost my sweet tooth when I went raw. And so I like this to have for breakfast. It's one of my favorite breakfasts. And we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. right, we're just going to put the lid on, nice and snug, and we're going to blend this up. All right, one of the reasons that you'll see me lift up the tamper while I'm doing it, one of the reasons I do that is so that it can develop this vacuum where it pulls it down like a tornado. You know, when a drain is emptying, it will make this little vacuum down here, and so that's when it gets really smooth. Also, I can tell if it's done by looking at the tamper. There's little particles on here, so I know it's not smooth enough. So I can do that without having to turn it off each time. And again, Vitabix is my blender of choice. If you don't have a high power blender, you may want to peel your apple. It'll just make it a little bit smoother. So we're going to take a taste of this. One thing I'm missing is cayenne. I don't know about you, but I like spice in everything. So add cayenne to your taste. Perfect. Now if you like to garnish your soup, make it look pretty, you can take a green onion, some thyme, you can even dice up some tomato and put on top. I like a little bit of green onion and thyme on mine, so we're just going to dice this onion real quick. Clean my surface. Now again, this soup is cold, but if you were to make this soup and you really have an aversion to eating cold soup, you can put this in a pan on the stove and heat it until it's just warm. If you put your finger in it and it's warm to the touch, you're not going to lose the enzymes and the nutrients, and you can have a warm soup. Personally, that's why I like the cayenne. It kind of adds some heat to it. So we'll just sprinkle a little bit of green onion on top. And a little more thyme. And there we have a nice bowl of soup. Again, I don't eat mine out of a bowl. I put mine in a cup with a straw, and I like to drink it that way. So this is our soup. When you taste the soup, you'll see you can taste the lemon, the thyme, the garlic. It's just a real layered flavor. It's very delightful on a lot of levels. Okay, our next recipe is going to be a simple cucumber salad. It only has 4 ingredients plus some sea salt, so I guess 5 ingredients. But we're going to start with a cucumber, and I'm going to go ahead and peel this. You don't have to peel it, but I like the way the cucumber breaks down when it doesn't have the peeling on it. It gets really soft and pliable. Okay, so we're just going to get this peeling off, then we're going to slice it really thin. If you have a mandolin, which is a slicer, you're welcome to use that, or you can just use a knife. When I'm making a large quantity, I'll tend to use the mandolin just because it goes so much quicker. Okay, so I'm just going to chop the ends off, and then I'm just going to slice it real thin. Again, like I talked about last week and the week before, if you keep your knife point down, if you hold the blade with your thumb and forefinger and hold the handle with your last 2 fingers, It just makes it easier to control the knife. I like to slice them thin because of the way they break down. You may like them crunchier, and if that's the case, slice them a little bit thicker. This will last in the fridge for, well, if you don't eat it, it will last for 4 or 5 days. The thicker the slices, the crunchier it will remain, because even the onion will break down some. Okay, so I'm just going to put all of these in a bowl. There's a lot of water in cucumber, so it kind of makes its own sauce. We're going to put very little dressing on it, and it will become very liquidy after it sits for a while. Next, we're going to do an onion. Everyone asks me what the secret is to not crying with onions, and the only thing that I have found is wearing contacts. I was training some people in my kitchen when I first opened, and we were doing an onion bread where we had to slice and dice many onions, 10 pounds of onions, and everyone was crying but 2 of us. And 2 of us wore contacts. That's the only thing I can think of, because onions don't bother me normally. We're just going to slice this real thin. Again, if you have a mandolin, it's a great way to get onions really thin. And we want to make these as thin as possible. Just going to keep slicing them. And this onion has really thin rings, so it's going to make a perfect salad. Sometimes when it gets to the end like that, if you slice it in half and turn it on its side, then you can slice it thin. And there we go. Okay, so then we just want to separate all of the rings. Again, even when I'm making food at home, I tend to wear gloves when I'm working with onions or bell peppers, anything that's going to make my skin smell like things that I eat. Some people like to sweat their onions, so they'll put the onions in a bowl first and put just a little bit of salt on them, and it brings some of the liquid out. You can do the same thing with your cucumbers. It will help bring the liquid out if you don't want as much liquid in your salad. That's just a personal preference. Some end pieces I'm going to put in the discard pile. Okay, so we're just going to mix these up a little bit. Okay, so our dressing consists of agave and apple cider vinegar. And again, you just make it for your taste. We're going to put just half a teaspoon of salt in to start with. I'm going to pour 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and just a tablespoon, which is 1 big squirt of this. And again, I'm going to mix this with my hands just because it's easier. I kind of got my bowl full. Now this, you'll notice this bowl is full. If we let this sit for about an hour, it'll be about half full because of the water coming out of the onions and cucumbers. Onions are very good for the immune system, just like garlic is. A lot of people avoid onions because of the way it makes their breath smell. And a lot of times raw onions will tend to do that. But I find with this salad, for whatever reason, maybe it's using a Vidalia onions, so sweeter onions too. I find with this salad it doesn't give me onion breath as much, because I will eat a lot. You could add another cucumber to this if you wanted. This is a thick slice, so I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. Then I'm just going to taste one of the cucumbers and see if the dressing is okay. It's a perfect amount. Even though you can see there's no dressing, it doesn't look like any dressing on it. Let's give it a little bit of time and it will be absolutely perfect for a salad. And then we can just take this, once it's broken down a little bit, probably let it sit for 30 minutes. And if you want to make it pretty, you can garnish it with some black sesame seeds. You could put some diced red bell peppers on it if you wanted to. And there you have a little cucumber salad. And again, this has very few calories in it, and yet it's very filling. If you're wanting a snack in the afternoon, this is a great thing to eat because you're not going to add calories, but you're going to get nutrients and you're going to satisfy your hunger. So it's just a good way to have this snack available. I eat this as a meal sometimes. I'll just eat a bowl probably close to that size. I can eat the whole thing for a meal and it is very satisfying. So again, here's a couple of easy ideas for you that you can do. You don't need fancy equipment. This soup can be made in a regular blender if you have one. You just have to cut the veggies a little bit smaller, skin the apple, and it'll give you an opportunity to add some more fresh living foods into your diet. So I encourage you to keep on keeping on. Make this week a better week than last week, and celebrate the small things in life. You know, if you made it through today and you did well, celebrate. If you didn't do so well as you'd like to think you did, find one thing you did well today. You know, you got out of bed, you had a good attitude. Celebrate yourself today. And we'll be back next week helping you make better choices today so tomorrow can be your best so you can live in optimum health.